Lucas Hale built his channel on proving things wrong. Every viral myth, every "don't try this" warning, every story people passed around like truth, he treated them like puzzles waiting to be dismantled. Maya Klein didn't believe in any of it either, but she paid closer attention to details, the kind most people ignored. Jordan Reyes tagged along because it was fun, until it wasn't. That night felt different from the start. The thread Maya found didn't look like anything else online. No usernames, no comments, no reactions. Just a list of instructions written plainly, like someone expected them to be followed without question. Lucas read them out loud, smiling at how ridiculous they sounded, but something about the phrasing stuck. There was no exaggeration, no attempt to scare, just quiet certainty. At the bottom, one final line lingered longer than it should have: record everything, do not stop midway. It didn't feel like a warning. It felt like a condition. At exactly 2:17 in the morning, the house felt wrong in a way none of them could explain. Not colder, not darker, just heavier, like the silence itself had weight. They stood in the room without speaking, just as instructed, waiting for something that Lucas was sure wouldn't come. Seconds stretched longer than they should have, and the stillness began to press in. Then came the sound. Soft at first, barely noticeable, like something brushing lightly against a surface. It didn't stay distant. It moved. Slow, deliberate, closer with each passing moment. Jordan shifted his weight, whispering an excuse that didn't convince even himself. Maya didn't move at all. Lucas felt his hand drift toward the light switch without thinking. Right before he touched it, the sound stopped completely. Not faded, stopped. The silence that followed was sharper than the noise had been, as if something had been listening for that exact moment. When the light came on, nothing was there. But the room didn't feel empty anymore. Watching it back should have made everything easier to explain. That was always the point. But this time, the footage didn't clarify anything, it made it worse. The darkness in the video looked thicker than it had in real life, like it wasn't just absence of light but something layered. Lucas scrubbed through slowly, focusing on the exact moment the sound had stopped. That's when it appeared. A shape, faint but distinct, standing directly behind them. It wasn't moving, but it wasn't still either. There was a presence to it, something that made it feel aware. Jordan insisted it had to be a glitch, some kind of artifact from low light, but even he didn't sound convinced. Maya didn't say much. She just kept watching, her eyes locked on the figure as if trying to understand it. The worst part wasn't that it was there. It was how long it had been there without any of them noticing. And the way it disappeared, not by fading out, but by simply no longer being there, as if it had stepped away between frames. The audio didn't sound like anything at first. Just distortion, layered noise that felt almost random. Lucas leaned in, listening harder, trying to find something structured in it. Maya noticed it before he did, the rhythm. It wasn't chaotic. It repeated, shifted, repeated again, like something trying to form words without fully succeeding. Jordan pulled one side of the headphones away, uncomfortable without knowing why. The longer they listened, the more the sound seemed to change. It didn't get louder, but it became clearer, like their brains were adjusting to it. Patterns turned into fragments, fragments into something closer to speech. None of them spoke while it played. They just listened, each one trying to make sense of something that didn't want to be understood all at once. Right before it ended, the distortion tightened into something unmistakable. A phrase, stretched and reversed, but still sharp enough to cut through the noise. It didn't sound distant. It sounded close. Too close. And when it stopped, the silence didn't feel empty. It felt occupied. They tried to ignore it. That should have been enough. Turning it off, stepping away, refusing to engage, that was how things like this were supposed to end. But it didn't stop. Small things at first. Lucas's phone lighting up without input. Short recordings appearing where none had been made. Always the same kind of footage, empty spaces, quiet corners, places that should have been still. Maya noticed the timestamps before anyone else. The same time repeating over and over, like something was marking it. Jordan started noticing things outside, figures that didn't stay long enough to confirm, movements that didn't match anything real. It didn't feel random. It felt like continuation. Like whatever they had started hadn't been completed properly. Maya said it out loud, slowly, as if saying it too quickly might make it worse. Maybe it wasn't about finishing a test. Maybe it was about not stopping once it began. Lucas didn't argue. He just looked back at the line they had all ignored at first. It didn't read like a warning anymore. It read like a rule they had already broken. None of them remembered deciding to continue. That was the part that stayed with them the most. One moment they were asleep, the next they were standing together, exactly where the next instruction would have placed them. The camera was already recording. The air felt thinner, harder to breathe, like something had shifted while they weren't aware. They didn't speak. They didn't need to. Each step forward felt automatic, like they were following something already set in motion. Then came the feeling. Not sudden, not overwhelming, just present. Something behind them. Close enough to matter. Jordan's breathing changed first. Maya's posture stiffened, every instinct telling her to turn around. Lucas felt it too, stronger with every step. The urge to look back wasn't curiosity. It was pressure, building, demanding release. But they didn't turn. They kept moving until the moment broke on its own. The door opening wasn't loud, but it felt like a release, like something had stepped away just long enough to let them pass. And for the first time, the silence didn't feel empty. It felt like it was waiting. Morning should have reset everything. It didn't. The thread was gone, erased so completely it felt like it had never existed at all. But the evidence remained, scattered across their devices like something that refused to be undone. New footage appeared without explanation. Clips recorded from angles that didn't make sense. Moments they had no memory of. And always, somewhere in each frame, that same shape, closer now, clearer in ways that didn't help. Lucas tried to remove it, to delete every file, every trace. Nothing stayed gone. Maya stopped looking for explanations. Jordan stopped pretending it was anything normal. Then came the final video. It wasn't recorded yet, but it existed anyway, sitting there with a timestamp that hadn't happened. When they opened it, they saw themselves again, standing exactly where they had been before. Same positions. Same silence. But something was different. This time, they turned around. Not slowly. Not hesitantly. All at once. The moment froze just before anything else could be seen. And that was the worst part. Not knowing what they saw, only knowing that, this time, they didn't follow the rules.